I was in this phase when I wanted to wear sneakers and things like that. So there's a very famous photo of me getting the Padma Shri. The blazer is probably a concession to my dad, but the sneakers are... And I think my dad just threw up his hands and said, do what you want.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Jaipur Bytes, an initiative of Teamwork Arts, where we try and see if we can get behind the curtain and pick on the thoughts that animate the legends of our time. And could it be bigger than Vishwanathan Anand, the man who quite literally taught us what dignity was, what application of the mind was. There's going to be the objective interviewer, Mr. Anand, but before that, there's going to be a rabid fan who'd like to thank you for making the whole generation grow up intellectually, for making us understand what dignity, application of the mind, and true dedication to the craft could mean. So it means a whole lot to us. Thank you very much for your time.
Very kind of you. Thank you.
First of all, of course, first ever Grandmaster, the Padma Shri at 18 years. Do you remember still what it felt like then?
Oh, vividly, quite vividly. I remember almost game by game how I got my Grandmaster norm and completed the title. I remember waiting a few months till it is officially approved before the commission signs off on it and gives you a title. I also remember the Padma Shri, though I had been to Rashtrapati Bhavan before to collect my Arjuna award. So in that sense, but still it's a very nice experience going to Rashtrapati Bhavan. You know, you have all the, you have the dress rehearsal. And they always do everything once before, and they explain to you exactly, you can't just wander in here and out. You kind of have to walk straight, then turn hard right, 90-degree angle, and then you have to bow, and then you step up and you receive it, and then you walk away. Very, very choreographed. And they always brief you there and so on. And I remember, I was 17, and so my poor dad was, he was working in the railways all his life, government servant, so, he had his wardrobe and things like that, and I was in this phase when I wanted to wear sneakers and things like that. So there's a very famous photo of me getting the Padma Shri. The blazer is probably a concession to my dad, but the sneakers are... And I think my dad just threw up his hands and said, do what you want.
I think at the age when the maximum we could expect is a commendation from our colleagues and and fellow students in school and college who are actually walking the hallowed corridors of arguably one of the most powerful places in the country. Was it overwhelming a little?
No, both times I enjoyed it very quickly, getting the occasion. You think you're supposed to be overawed, but in fact, you turn up on time. And both times my parents were there with me to also soak in the atmosphere, but certainly to make sure that everything went smoothly. And it wasn't that special. I got the first one from President Zil Singh, the second one from President Venkataraman, and it wasn't overwhelming.
It's quite wonderful to hear you quite literally talk about how history went in India, as opposed to what as a parallel line to how chess history has developed. And from being a 17-year-old getting accolades from two presidents to seeing 17-year-olds now getting chess pieces thrown off the board. It's quite a journey, is it not, Mr. Anand? How do you encapsulate that?
It's two different eras, simply. In a sense, I grew up in the pre-computer era. The first, computers probably started becoming common in early 80s.
Yes.
I got my first computer only in 1987. And the first chess program appeared around that time. But before that, everything was done on books. We were totally analog. We knew how to think. We did all our analysis ourselves. which meant literally similar to pen and paper. It's on the chessboard, you do your work. And then literally what stands between that time and now is the whole computer revolution, all of it. The whole mobile revolution, all of it. And whenever I think back to those days, I remember what traveling was like. I would go somewhere, look for a payphone, go call someone with the one number I had written on a piece of paper. No, that's all you had.
Absolutely.
And you often, now I think, what happened if I lost this paper? Because now I lose paper all the time. But of course, then I didn't lose anything because you knew that you couldn't depend on it, took it seriously. So I had this paper with 2 or 3 useful phone numbers. I would say if they were not there, nothing to be done, but I would call, then say, okay, we'll meet somewhere. And I also often wonder, how did we meet people? Now, I agree to, let's say, meet you. And then between then and here, we might exchange 10 messages. I'm standing by the door. Are you standing by the door? No, I'm standing. And, you think. And then we simply said, I'll meet you here at this time, roughly. And we managed. And now I can't believe that we managed because, and so it's literally that era. And on chessboard, maybe it's even more so. Nobody analyzes anymore. They learn how to analyze because they analyze they have to analyze on the board. But all the analysis we do is done on the computer, and it does more in a few seconds than teams of grandmasters could hope to do in weeks.
Generations seem to be changing. When we were young, generations would take a decade and a half to change. Now it's like 5 years and you don't know what the other person is saying.
Yes. Also, there is this effect you feel that people are constant off on their own. Their phone cameras. So, and it's become so ubiquitous. You don't think about it anymore. I mean, certainly I take photos for memories and so on. But once again, you think, how did we ever live without them? How did we ever live without documenting anything? We actually went on holidays and we used our eyes to look around, and our memories were the only thing. Is that possible? Now you feel miserable if all your photos don't make it back in good quality. In fact, most people don't look at the thing. They just take photos of it and come back. So the change in thing is also very huge. And anyway, I didn't bring this up to go on a rant. I mean that chess players nowadays, knowing that the cameras are on them and people will watch these things, certainly tend to exaggerate their behavior also. So that's the thread I was trying to connect to. It wasn't a rant about humanity.
No, I guess that's what happens when you internalize everything. There has to be analysis to everything. So, it's like listening to you is like watching moves on a chessboard, if you've ever seen that. But focus being the focal point quite literally of chess, and the fact that, today focus is in itself under question, that this is a generation that cannot focus because we're being assaulted by information. You've seen the young people grow up, so to speak. You've worked with Gukesh, and you've worked with Arjun Erigesi as well. What about the quality of chess from when used? Because we'll come to the controversies also of people who have been very worthy opponents to you, Vladimir Kramnik, for example, and what's happening to him right now. There was Tupolov as well. There was Karpov. These are giants of the game. Do you see that Grandmaster and the mega star of the chess game happening in the generation we live in now?
Very much. People still look for stars, and somebody dominates public opinion. Also, you have to kind of appreciate that the audience has changed. But you're right. For me, I realized that I was the face of chess in some way for 30 plus years, close to 40 years. And you get so used to it, it doesn't... Kasparov once complained that Karpov went to sleep with I am world champion Karpov now going to sleep in his head. And it's kind of... it's true that, I went to sleep knowing that I'm at least the best player in India, and I woke up thinking of this. And then suddenly a few years ago, I realized, I'm not. And that's something new to get used to. But then you realize people still separate. They don't mix you with them. You're some other thing. You're some historical figure. Something like a statue has suddenly started moving, and they are young. And so it doesn't really connect. But I mean, you mentioned Kramnik. I would add Gelfand, Topalov.
Well, yes.
What I find remarkable now is how we're all coming into our 50s, and even some Gary is already in the 60s. Karpov is going to, well, is halfway through to his 80s, 75 rather.
75.
Not 40, but anyway. And so on. So, and then you get this perspective. Well, you think, of course, yeah, that's why now all the time I keep thinking, well, that's what my parents must have been thinking. Because as you get older, you have the same thoughts and you think that's what they were thinking.
There was also the fact that as your career was progressing, as it was plateauing, as people like Magnus Carlsen were coming up, so was the media. The glare was intense. If memory serves me right, it was 2012 when Carlsen won that game against you, and suddenly it was is Vishy losing it, and I was very irritated by the fact that they chose Vishy to address you as if you were a homie. The respect was to me missing there a little. But was that difficult to take? Because as you said, you'd been carrying that burden for so long. It must have become a bit of a part of you, and to lose that, in my head as someone from the outside watching in, it was a question that I've always wanted to ask you.
No, not at all. That's because your form fluctuates constantly. So every year throughout my career, there have been months where people asked, is he losing it? And the next month, no, he's got it back. And, that's like a stock market. You really can't pay attention. But you were mentioning this, and one of the things that hits me is, young people and culture. So recently, I sometimes find it tiresome, not only Vishy, but Vishy Sir. So quite often people call me Vishy Sir. I have no idea what this means, because Sir used to mean something else from our time.
Yes.
But now Sir, I don't know what exactly they're hinting at. Even people I don't expect to call me Vishy Sir call me Vishy Sir. So, and so recently I was playing the Global League, Chess League in Bombay. And after the match, we all came out and the fans would ask for autographs. Vishy Sir, please sign this. So I'd go and sign a few. And I thought, well, should I mention to them, you don't have to call me Vishy Sir or something. And I thought, okay, doesn't matter. And then Arjun came by and told him, Arjun, bro, can you sign this? And I thought, well, at least Sir beats bro.
Yeah, sure.
But
it's a classic pawn beats bishop.
Dog beats human, so doesn't.
Humbled.
But the thing about Vishy is, I'm both used to it and kind of feel bad for my dad, because it's his name. And I'm Anand completely. But it's this typical confusion between South Indian names and not only North Indian names, but also the rest of the world, where they have the constant family name and we seem to have dropped it. So I try explaining, my mother is Sushila Vishwanathan, but I'm Anand Vishwanathan, not Vishwanathan Anand. I'm Anand Vishwanathan. I don't know how it got Vishwanathan Anand. But now I'm known just as Vishwanathan Anand, quite often Vishwanath. H is sprinkled randomly. And I've gotten so used to it, it bugs me only a little bit.
Arose by any other name, I dare say, but we can always fall back on Shakespeare to sort of ease the pain a little. But talking of pain, what was it like walking away from that Carlsen match?
In my book, in Lightning Kid as well, there is a bit about that. I would say it was relief, and of course, this moment when you realize that you've lost something, and so in the subsequent years, slowly I began to feel nostalgic that I was once world champion and I had that title and it was a thing. But at the same time, when I lost it, it was a relief, because I'd been struggling in the match for a couple of days before that. So I thought, at least Abadi, it's over. The hell with it. So that was one feeling. The other feeling was, I don't know what I'm going to do, because if I play like this, where's my thing going? That took a couple of months to heal. And in fact, I did almost no chess from November till February. I did the bare minimum. I wasn't looking at recent games. I wasn't studying. My chess program wasn't being opened at all. I really detached myself, and I think those days I realized, well, I'm a human being first, and I have family, and I have school friends, and whatever. And then there's that chess world. It seemed like it. Then I went to the candidates, and kind of I had to get back in a hurry to being in the zone. So I tried to crash courses a little bit, not very much, because very quickly I realized, A, this is futile, and B, I'm not in the mood. So tried to just say, well, I'll go there and play. And as these things always work out, when you have given up hope and you just think, well, let me do something with the fun of it, I go and win the tournament. And that became very nice. And then, all these existential questions drop out of your head. Everything feels silly. You reject. But it wasn't as traumatic then. But I feel the pain very strongly, very gradually. Over the years, I felt it a lot more than I thought, but I didn't feel it as intensely then.
But has it festered somewhere, the loss?
I think whenever things go wrong, your mind wanders back to not only that loss. There have been other disastrous moments, and a couple of times when I throw away a winning game, I'll go back to some other examples, and you remember some faces, or even the weather, or even the clothes you were in with some horror, and then you go back. So your memory kind of drags you back. But you get over it. One thing is true, that time does heal, but it doesn't actually take everything away. Some traces are left.
That's, I mean, and just a plug, because there is a book and it needs to be read, because as in chess, so in life. It's called The Lightning Kit by Vishwanathan Anand, in case you'd like to check it out. Brick and mortar stores and online both. So yeah, you could check that out. But Mr. Anand, there's also the fact that there's classical chess, there's rapid chess, there's blitz chess. You're very widely considered by Wikipedia as one of the greatest of all time as far as rapid chess is concerned. There's also blitz chess. Is it like cricket, where the test matches are equal to classical chess, and T20s are the blitz chess, and are they equal in hierarchy as far as the craft is concerned?
Yes and yes. First of all, the ratios are very nice. In cricket, it's 5-1, whatever fraction of the day. And in chess, it used to be 6-7, 7-6-5 also. 1 hour, 10 minutes. So the ratios kind of match, and it's very similar. The thing is, classical chess used to test one kind of skill, which is not only your ability to see things, but it's also your ability to recall information that you read, organize the moves popping around your head. Did I really see this, or was this the one I was checking, and what were the lines, and you reconstruct. And so the description would be of someone carefully doing research for an hour and then producing a beautiful answer. Rapid chess, highly sped up, but you get some time to think. Blitz is almost purely, what's the first thought that comes to your head and how accurate is it? In other words, your almost unconscious hand.
Okay.
How good is that? That's what Blitz is measuring.
Right.
Now, we were always playing Blitz and Rapid. I mean, at least in the chess club, I always grew up playing 5-minute games. But the thing is, it wasn't official time control. It was something chess players always gravitated to for fun. But about 10, 15 years ago, we started to rate these games officially, chart them and so on. And I think one of the problems for me is almost all my rapid titles and a lot of blitz titles as well. So generally when people are saying, he's good in rapid, they mean he's good in the faster time controls. Almost all of it is from the era where before these titles were official and the thing. So I have a lot of rapid titles. It's just they don't have the stamp.
But now you're with FIDE. So...
yeah, I don't think I could campaign on. I think it's time to rewrite all my old events.
It was worth the question, Mr. Anand. So, but then there was, of course, COVID that happened,
Yeah.
and OTT that happened, and suddenly chess was on the street. It was no longer in a three-piece suit. It now wore sneakers and was being joked about a little as well. And there were a lot of people who suddenly got interested because they had nothing else to do. Online chess suddenly became very big. Along with it came controversies, and now that controversy has, according to a lot of sources, led to a death because one of the players was accused of cheating by no less than Kramnik. It's generated a lot of conversation online and offline as well, not just about chess, but about ethics, about privilege as well, because Vladimir Kramnik, who is the accuser, is one of the greats of the game. What are your views about this the onlineization, for lack of a better word, of chess and the consequent ethical issues that it seems to be bringing out?
Well, online chess, online communities, they have this fundamental issue that first, some degree of anonymity. In the broader online world, this means expressing your opinions without saying who you are, where you live, or allowing people to see that. As they say on the internet, no one knows if you're a dog, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But on the chessboard, that means nobody sees how you're playing. They see your board, the moves you execute with your mouse. And so nowadays, sometimes they insist on one webcam on you. Sometimes they insist on two, a side angle, because all they get is the direct thing. So they want a second check there. And so the issue with cheating is going to crop up. First of all, because computers are so strong that cheating is effortless. And second, because of this, the inability to see. But at the same time, convenience means online is the easiest way to someone to get a game. You don't have to get out of bed even. Even more than the street, I would say chess entered our screens. Yeah. It's on your phone, it's on your tablet, it's on your computer. You can watch anything live anywhere. And some of it, are mainstream tournaments which are broadcast live, but sometimes you realize there are two people playing chess, they're both streaming it, and there are three people watching it, and that's the thing. So it's new. Again, because we transitioned into it a second per second, as they say, it happened at literally, what do they say? The time ticks always at the rate of 1 second per second, yeah. So like that. But at the same time, every once in a while, I think, 20 years ago, this thing didn't exist, and you have that gap. As for the allegations, that's also a bit of a feature of online chess, that allegations tend to have a life on their own. They just stay there. And then, in some sense, the first tragedy already happened.
Yeah.
And we'll just have to get better at it, at learning how to deal with this. But
do you wrestle with these issues, Mr. Anand? Do you wrestle with them sometimes in your head?
To some degree, yes. When a colleague dies, a very young colleague as well, you think, my God, couldn't someone have stopped this? Did it have to happen, and so on? And second, you also have to, a lot of people immediately made accusations against Kramnik and so on, but you always have to look back again, and then slowly evaluate it and so on. I don't think there'll be any easy answers, but it's very uncomfortable. But I mean, this is what the extreme end of consequences. There's obviously a lot of bullying and trash talking and everything which happens online, which is minor in scale, but it adds up. The negative effects do add up. So that's also, but like with all technology, I wonder sometimes if we control it or it controls us.
That's all. Yeah. I mean, do we control it? Does it control us? And please remember what he said. Time ticks at the rate of 1 second per second. You might want to write that down somewhere. We seem to forget that that time also has its rhythms. But talking of one death leads me to a question of something that is being talked about online as well, increasingly, as another kind of death, which is the death of dignity in chess, with the kind of things that are happening where team tournaments get the winner to actually pick up the king and throw it into the crowd. Magnus Carlsen's, of course, done it twice, banging the table. It's become huge meme material. It's become a huge conversation. Do you think the conversation around chess is suffering because of these fancy, flashy clothes that are being put around?
Okay, so again, to get back, if you remember Fischer versus Spassky,
Yeah.
they were talking about that match for decades after it happened. By this, I mean the broader public. The chess players knew that by 1974, maybe Fischer was not even the strongest player on the planet. He hadn't played very much, and others catch up. People who are looking at the game itself, the technical side, are attuned to something else. But in the public mind, the last name they heard is the strongest for a very long time, and that in sense was Fischer. We have to, I answer your question, I have to say, well, who's watching? If you're watching it distantly, I mean, you ask me to name a boxing match, I might name Ali versus Foreman.
For sure.
So then if you pressed me harder, some more recent names would come to mind, and some of the more crazy stuff comes to mind. At least Mike Tyson's earned his fame,
Yes.
or notoriety. But the thing, what we're measuring there is how fast an incident is recalled. On the chessboard, there are hardly any games where people are throwing pieces and all that. By the way, as a kind of via culpa, so the organizers told all the players, like, if you want to chuck some pieces into the audience, it'll be great, and we'll film it, and it'll promote the event. So Hikaru actually thought he was doing what the organizers were saying. It wasn't targeted at Gukesh at all. I mean, Hikaru was, and this is a man who streams a lot, so he does a lot of this. And so I don't think it was targeting Gukesh in any way. And I think Gukesh knew that. He didn't take it. But a lot of people took offense on behalf of him. And so again, you end up with this question, well, but who's saying what? And then you get further from the game. But I will agree with you with one thing, that chess is now slightly addicted to this kind of promotion. But maybe it's inevitable. I mean, once you're on streaming platforms, this is the sort of thing you do. That's where you end up. And I don't mean addicted in the sense of we are trying to do it, but somebody will do it, somebody will film it, somebody will react to it, and then that has a life of its own. And for me, when people tell me the top three things they think about chess these days, so when I'm talking to people who are very far from the game, I don't recognize any of them because they're not my top three things. But I realize that out there, that's what, and that's useful as well, because it tells you what is it about your sport that the outside world sees. The ones who don't know a rook from a knight, but see two people thinking. I mean, the oldest stereotype about us is that we're old guys sitting with things. They always say you're a bit young to be a chess player kind of thing. It's that kind of thing. What we are facing now is the public image, and I would say mostly chess being on video has been very good for the game, but with the inevitable negative side of it. Sorry, long answer.
Yeah. No, that's perfect. Because you've given me the perfect segue for my, ideally my last question, but of course it could go longer. But the factor of age. Everyone's been talking about youth. Everyone's been talking about how 7-year-olds and 8-year-olds are taken to chess, and now you're back on the board. So you've sort of, pivoted the spotlight about the other side of age. Everyone keeps saying that in sport, mental faculties tend to decline with age, etc. There are young, aggressive people on the board that you're taking to as well, and I'm sure the world that we live in, respect only is till you sit next to each other on the board. So that decision, I'd love to pick your brain about what happened there.
Nothing. This is the constant confusing of data about a group with something about an individual. In a sense, I don't think I disproved anything. If you take people in their 50s and track their games over a while, they are struggling in modern chess against people who are teenagers.
Nimbler.
nimbler, faster. I mean, everything comes easier for them and so on.
But was age a factor when you were deciding?
When I was growing up as well, it was a factor. And I had players who were 30 years older than me, and I don't know what I thought about them. And now I can imagine
On the other side of the fence.
quite and so on. But the bigger point is, I don't even think I'm such an outlier. It's the data doesn't say that no 50-year-old will have any chance. It's just I knew I was working very hard to get something. I would probably have worked less 20 years ago, but it's not that it's slipped from my grasp. I think this is taking a trend and imposing it on a person. And I mean, you have to see in statistics there are outliers, there are standard deviations, and but the broad line is also clear. The mean is very clear.
It's astounding the way you analyze everything. I mean, all of the conversations that we've had has had an analytical bit to it, where there's a very, very clear explanation to why. Does Vishwanathan Anand at some point of time go for it without analyzing things? Does it become a little difficult because it becomes so ingrained?
Yes, there are moments when you actually have no time and you have to go for it. And there are many times where, in fact, one of the things to do in chess is that if I think about something, I'm paralyzed because I really can't choose between two things. But then at the board, you realize, well, I have to make one. So sometimes I just close my eyes, make one move, and then say, okay, now I'm stuck with it. And, you get out of it. I go for it all the time, I would say. It's decisions are not, don't come easy, and you just, at some point you have to get on with it. But I think the easiest way for me to cope is just to see it from another side. I no longer have to win the title. I no longer have to show anything. I'm doing this on my own dime, so to speak. I'm just doing it for myself to play well and challenge myself. And, can I still play chess well and that kind of thing. And then even the pressure feels different and you just go. And nobody really sits around remembering my bad results these days. It balances out. It's a nice place to be also.
Yeah.
From a different perspective. And as I was mentioning earlier, when I look at my peers who are all in their 50s now, Topalov, Kramnik, everyone, and you think, well, we're all aging some slightly differently, but this way, that way, and it's you get some fun out of watching everyone now as well.
And finally, was writing the book also one of those decisions that you said to yourself, just go for it and start writing?
It wasn't. I didn't have to hesitate so much. First of all, I had been attempting to write books for a while, but just like many major projects, starting is one thing, finishing is another. So it kind of got thing. And then in 6 years ago, in 2019, now it's sort of 7 years ago, I decided to write the book. In fact, I started about a year earlier because the very clear thing is, well, now I have a chance to finish my autobiography and in time to turn when I turn 50. And, if you do it at 50 and a half or 51, you've missed it. So a little bit of pressure, got it done. That was great. And now it was nice to do it again as a sort of father of a 14-year-old, a teenager. You kind of think this book is based on Mindmaster, obviously, but all the stories have been adapted. I had to re-narrate everything from a different perspective. Also, Vatsala was writing everything from that thing. And so we're targeting a different audience. And the aim is, well, let's see, hopefully they enjoy that.
Yeah. And finally, since we're living in the world of social media, it's only proper that we ask you to build us a little listicle of 3 points about what you see the future of chess as.
More content. And therefore more showboating.
Faster, more content, and therefore more showboating. There's been a little bit of it in his career, but what we've, of course, taken away is the dignity of it, the absolute, complete honesty of it, and, of course, the fact that time ticks at a rate of 1 second per second. We are out of it, so it is time to thank Mr. Vishwanathan Anand for the time and the generosity with which you've shared your wisdom, which was, as we all know, very, very hard-earned. So thank you very much for your time, and thank you very much for this conversation, Mr. Anand.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Vishwanathan Anand, ladies and gentlemen, on the Jaipur Bytes podcast. If you liked it, you know what to do. Like, subscribe. Everyone's got 2 comments. One would be nice for us because everyone's got an opinion of anonymity. But thank you for watching. And if you did take away something, that will make us very, very happy indeed. Once again, thank you for watching.